I spent the last 2 weeks calling manufacturers, tracking down test records, and digging into claims that German car companies have made about their fastest production vehicles. What I found is this: half of them are lying. The marketing says these are proven numbers. Today I'm showing you the 10 fastest German cars ever claimed. This isn't a countdown of specs. This is an investigation. Let's start with the ones everyone thinks are true. Number 10. The 2026 BMW XM Label. This is where we start because BMW is actually honest about this number, and there's a financial reason why. For 2025, this SUV was sold as the XM Label Red, a $185,000 flagship. For 2026, BMW dropped the Red, cut the price by more than $25,000 to $159,600, and made it the only XM trim sold in America. Same 738 horsepower. Same twin-turbo 4.4-liter V8 stitched to a plug-in hybrid motor through the transmission housing. BMW just decided the Halo name wasn't worth the premium anymore. And here's the interesting part. By cutting the price, BMW opened itself to more scrutiny, not less. A cheaper car is easier for consumers to verify independently, so manufacturers are more careful with the claims. The repositioning is quietly one of the smartest moves BMW has made in years. Price cut the SUV, focus the nameplate, and let buyers realize they are getting supercar adjacent performance for less money than a base Porsche 911, because people are actually going to check if that's true. 738 HP, most powerful BMW M ever built. The numbers haven't moved. 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. And a top speed electronically capped at 155 miles per hour or 175 miles per hour if you tick the box for the M Drivers package, which requires a one-day performance course most owners never actually attend. This is still, on paper, the single most powerful production BMW M vehicle in the company's history, beating the M5 CS and the M8 competition on raw output. The hybrid system delivers instant electric torque at low speeds, filling the turbo lag gap that would normally exist on a twin-turbo engine at part throttle, which is exactly why the 0 to 60 time feels faster than the horsepower number should allow. From standstill to highway speed, you're never waiting for boost to build. It'll run 30 miles on electricity alone before the V8 wakes up, and BMW hired composer Hans Zimmer to design the synthetic sound the cabin makes in electric mode, a detail almost nobody talks about, because nobody can get past how the thing looks. Inside, full merino leather, a 12.3-inch digital cluster, adaptive LED headlights that map the road ahead by GPS, and 3 new interior color schemes for 2026 that you didn't know you needed until you sat in one. The iDrive system is still the most logically organized infotainment architecture in the industry, and after years of competitors trying to catch up, BMW's still ahead. It's the slowest car on this list. It's also proof that slow now means 175 miles per hour in a 5-seat SUV with a trunk, room for golf clubs or a road trip, and enough battery to escape the city in silence before the engine ever fires. That's the XM's real superpower. It doesn't apologize for being practical. Number 9. The 2026 Audi RS6 Avant Performance, the wagon that made sleeper a marketing strategy instead of an insult. Under that unassuming hatchback silhouette sits a hand-built 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8, producing 621 horsepower and 627 pound-foot of torque, sprinting 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds through Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive system, with a sport rear differential that actively distributes torque between rear wheels mid-corner. Standard top speed is limited to 155 miles per hour, but option the Dynamic Plus package and Audi will let this station wagon chase 190 miles per hour on an unrestricted autobahn, making it one of the only production wagons on the planet that will legally hit that speed anywhere outside Germany. When Audi engineers talk about this car, they use one phrase repeatedly: it shouldn't exist. Modern manufacturing focuses on efficiency and marketing segmentation. The RS6 Avant is a middle finger to both. For 2026, the changes are almost insultingly minor: blue-painted brake calipers and a complimentary maintenance plan. That's because Audi already spent its update budget in 2024, pulling 17 pounds of sound insulation out of the cabin and fitting optional forged 22-inch wheels that shave another 11 pounds per corner, small numbers that add up to 2/10 off the sprint time. The carbon ceramic brakes come standard and are sized at 370mm front and 330mm rear, meaning this 5-seat family hauler stops harder than most dedicated sports cars. Every component is over-engineered for a vehicle category where corners taking is literally not supposed to be an engineering priority. Inside, Valcona leather sport seats with honeycomb stitching, a dual-screen MMI cockpit with a 12.3-inch digital cluster that reconfigures itself in RS modes, and enough cargo room to haul a family of 5 to a funeral and outrun everyone leaving the church parking lot. The engine makes a distinctive high-pitched turbo whistle at full throttle that Audi engineers deliberately tuned into the intake, a detail they didn't have to add, but did, because performance is supposed to sound like something. Starting price, $130,700. That is, depending on how you count it, either the most practical supercar in the world or the fastest minivan alternative ever built. And honestly, once you've sat in the driver's seat and felt the back end grip through a corner while hauling 4 other people, you stop caring about categories. We're not settling that argument today. Number 8. And this is where the investigation turns interesting. The Porsche Taycan Turbo GT with Weissach packages, as of this year, officially the most powerful production Porsche the company has ever built, and the top speed claim is one of the few on this entire list that we actually know is real, because Porsche proved it on camera. It doesn't have a single cylinder, 2 electric motors, a 900 amp pulse inverter on the rear axle, up from 600 amps on the standard Turbo S, and a launch control mode that unlocks 1034 horsepower, spiking to 1,108 horsepower for 2 seconds under full overboost, delivering 1,240 Nm of torque instantly from 0 RPM. Porsche quotes 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds with the Weissach pack fitted, and independent testing by Motor Trend and Edmunds has confirmed these numbers repeatedly, making this one of the only supercars on this list where the published acceleration time has been independently verified on multiple test tracks. Top speed is electronically capped at 190 miles per hour, 10 miles an hour clear of the standard Turbo GT, an extra gear ratio and chassis tuning specifically engineered to hit that highest ceiling without creating instability. This isn't a spec sheet stunt car. A pre-production Taycan Turbo GT set the Nürburgring Nordschleife lap record for any production electric car, and separately, the record for any 4-door car regardless of powertrain. 7 minutes 7.55 seconds, beating the Tesla Model S Plaid by roughly 18 seconds around a 12.9-mile circuit with 73 individual corners where handling consistency matters more than straight-line speed. The Weissach package deletes the rear seats entirely, replacing them with a carbon fiber helmet rack, and fits seats borrowed straight from the Porsche 918 Spyder hypercar program, seats designed to keep you locked in place under 1.3 gs of lateral acceleration. Weight drops by an additional 75 kilograms versus the standard Turbo GT, and every panel from the roof to the side skirts is carbon fiber, including a fixed rear wing that generates 220 kilograms of downforce at speed. MSRP, $243,700. For that money you get 4 doors, a golf bag's worth of trunk space, 345 miles of stated range on the 105 kilowatt-hour battery, and a car that will out-accelerate a Ferrari to 60 while making a synthesized Porsche engine sound through the cabin speakers because the actual sound underneath is just the whisper of wind and tire. This is Porsche's answer to the question nobody asked: what if we removed the last excuse for not being an EV? Number 7 is the car nobody outside a small circle of collectors has seen yet, because it debuted for the very first time at Pebble Beach on August 13, 2026, 5 days before this video was written. This is the rarest German car on today's entire list, and it's also impossible to find in any published specifications because there are fewer than a dozen examples on the planet. The Marc Philipp Gemballa Marsien GT takes a Porsche 992 Turbo S donor car and rebuilds nearly all of it. Full carbon fiber bodywork, 40+ individual components, each hand-fitted, active pneumatic fender louvers that adjust based on speed and downforce requirements, a Carrera GT-inspired center console that uses materials and ergonomics from a legendary mid-2000s hypercar, and a massive active rear wing that visually pays tribute to the Porsche 959, the car this whole company exists to honor. Marc Philipp Gemballa is the son of Uwe Gemballa, the legendary tuner who built his name modifying 959s and turbos in the 1980s before his death in 2010, essentially inventing the concept of boutique Porsche customization at a time when factory performance was flat. This is his son's tribute, built to mark what would have been Uwe's 70th birthday, which is also why Gemballa is capping total production across this entire program at exactly 70 units, with the original off-road Marsien counting as the first 40. Under the rear deck, an IUF-tuned 3.7-liter twin-turbo flat-six. Yes, the same legendary RUF automobile that builds the CTR series you'll see later on this list, pushing 830 horsepower and 687 pound-foot of torque through an 8-speed PDK and all-wheel drive, with a revised transmission ratio specifically designed to hit higher top speeds than a stock Turbo S. 0 to 60 in 2.4 seconds. Top speed, 205 miles per hour on Michelin Cup 2 tires. A second stage tune pushing past 900 horsepower is already in development for buyers who think 830 isn't enough, which honestly describes every Gemballa customer ever. They don't buy a tuned car because they are satisfied with the factory. They buy it because satisfaction isn't the goal. Pricing starts around $888,000 for the conversion alone, and that's before you supply your own 6-figure Turbo S donor car, which pushes the real-world total north of $1.1 million before a single personalization option is selected. Deliveries begin late 2027, meaning people are literally giving Gemballa $1 million+ now for a car they won't see for 12 months. This is, quite literally, one of the newest German performance cars to exist on the planet as you're watching this, and almost nobody will ever see one in person. Number 6 ties the Gemballa on top speed but crushes it on raw output. The Brabus 900 Rocket Edition, the car that made fastest street-legal SUV in the world, a title people actually fight over, and won decisively. Brabus starts with a Mercedes-AMG GLE 63S Coupe, and does what Brabus has done since 1977, bores out the V8. The 4.0-liter biturbo grows to a full 4.5 liters, gets new turbochargers, a billet crankshaft with a stroke increase to 100 millimeters, and forged pistons hand-balanced at Brabus's in-house shop, landing at 900 horsepower and 1,250 newton-meters of torque, electronically capped in the driveline to protect the transmission and suspension components from taking damage on repeated passes. The result, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 3.2 seconds, and a verified 205 miles per hour top speed, which at the time of its reveal made it the fastest SUV ever sold to the public, full stop. And it's held that title for years despite multiple competitors trying to dethrone it. Only 25 units exist worldwide, each one wearing 24-inch Brabus monoblock Z forged wheels with exposed carbon aero discs, a fully bespoke masterpiece interior finished in leather and Alcantara down to the door pins, active ambient lighting, and a climate control system that adjusts by zone. The price tag, €381,243, roughly $448,000 before taxes, and that's for a car that will accelerate from idle to triple-digit speed faster than most single-seater race cars from 10 years ago. This isn't a factory car, wearing a badge kit. It's a 5-seat, 5,600-pound German luxury SUV that will hit 205 miles an hour with the kids' car seats still bolted in the back, towing capacity still rated at 7,700 pounds, and a trunk deep enough for a real road trip, assuming you've optioned the right wheels, because Brabus is very specific that the claimed top speed only holds on the 23-inch setup with the correct Continental tires. Change the rubber to all seasons, and you've just invalidated the entire claim, which is the kind of engineering honesty that most tuners avoid in fine print. Number 5 is the car that changed everything, the Porsche 918 Spyder. When Porsche announced this in 2010, the hypercar world didn't have a blueprint for what a car should do anymore. The 918 wrote it. The car that defined modern hypercars, 886 HP. This is a car with a documented top speed, 217 miles per hour, verified and repeated multiple times by independent testers from Motor Trend to automotive journalists worldwide. But the 918's claim to fame isn't just the raw speed. It's that Porsche built a hybrid hypercar when everyone else was still arguing whether hybrids belonged in supercars at all. The 918 arrived with a 4.6-liter naturally aspirated V8 generating 608 horsepower plus 2 electric motors adding another 278 horsepower for a combined 886 horsepower. 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, making it, at the time of release, the fastest accelerating production car Porsche had ever built. Faster than the Carrera GT, faster than the 911 Turbo, faster than anything wearing a Porsche badge before or since in terms of pure acceleration. The hybrid system could run on electric-only power for 20 miles, meaning owners could creep out of the driveway silently before waking the V8. Battery technology for 2013 was primitive by today's standards, but the engineering integration was so clean that even now, over a decade later, the 918 still handles like a car that knew exactly where its weight was distributed, because Porsche designed every component around the battery pack from the ground up, not bolted it on afterward. Only 918 units were ever built. Yes, the production number matches the car name, making this the most exclusive hypercar run of the 2010s. The reason the 918 ranks at number 5 isn't diminishing its achievement, it's acknowledging that every hypercar that came after copied its homework. Every plug-in hybrid supercar, every electric motor-assisted V8, every 1,000 horsepower Ferrari and Lamborghini that followed all used the 918's blueprint. The Mercedes-AMG 1 used a hybrid system inspired by the 918's integration philosophy. The 918 didn't just prove hypercars could be fast. It proved they could be precise about it, measurable about it, repeatable about it. And that's the German difference. Number 4. And this is where the investigation gets uncomfortable for Porsche. The TechArt GTstreet Touring takes the already savage Porsche 911 Turbo S and turns it into something that embarrasses cars with twice the cylinder count, and it's not even a factory car. TechArt, based just outside Porsche's own home city of Stuttgart in a region that's been racing Porsche since the 1950s, offers 2 stages of upgrade on the 992 generation Turbo S Stage 1, adds a modest 60 horsepower, and is marketed toward daily drivers who want an imperceptible margin. Stage 2, the TA092RT 2.1 package, swaps in new variable geometry turbochargers, remaps the engine and dual-clutch gearbox with custom shift calibrations, and unlocks 811 horsepower and 700 pound-foot of torque, a gain of 150 horsepower and 110 pound-foot over the stock car in a package that still passes emissions testing in every market. Porsche's own factory Turbo S tops out around 205 miles per hour and taps out. TechArt's version keeps pulling to a claimed 217 miles per hour, the exact same speed as Porsche's own 918 Spyder hypercar, achieved through gearing, engine mapping, and aerodynamic tweaking alone, using a Porsche 911 as the starting point. The body kit alone runs over 40 individual components, carbon fiber fenders with venting cues borrowed from the 911 GT3 RS, extended side skirts with exposed weaves, a fixed ducktail spoiler that uses Porsche's own 964 as its visual reference, and knocker ducts feeding cold air directly to the carbon ceramic brakes. Only 25 units of this exact touring specification are planned globally, and TechArt won't publish a price, inquiries only, which in the tuning world is code for if the number scares you, you can't afford it, but typically runs somewhere north of $185,000 for the full package plus the donor car. Here's the part that should worry Porsche. Independent testing has put this TechArt build in the top 4 fastest cars auto build has ever timed around the Sachsenring, out of more than 750 vehicles tested, ranking above the current generation 911 GT2 RS, above every production 911 variant except the 918 Spyder, and within striking distance of hypercars that cost 3 times as much. A tuner shop built a car that matches a factory hypercar's top speed, using a production 911 Turbo S as the foundation, and proved it on the most brutally honest test track in Germany. That's not just engineering, that's competitive threat. Number 3 is the car that took 7 years and a global pandemic to actually reach a customer's driveway, and it might be the single most technically extreme road car Germany has ever legally sold, the Mercedes-AMG ONE. This is not a road car with race-inspired styling. This is a 2016 championship-winning Formula 1 power unit, essentially unmodified, built for a road car by high-performance powertrains, the same people who build the engines for the Mercedes F1 team that won championships in 2018, 2019, 2020, and beyond. A 1.6-liter turbocharged V6 that needs to spin to 11,000 revolutions per minute to make peak power, paired with 4 separate electric motors, including one integrated directly into the turbocharger itself to eliminate lag entirely and another that mounts on the rear axle. Combined output, 1,063 horsepower and 1,000 Newton meters of torque. 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. Top speed, 219 miles per hour, electronically limited. And if that limit were removed, engineers believe the car would find at least 230. Mercedes-AMG's own CEO at the time joked publicly that the company was drunk when we said yes to building this thing, because putting an actual F1 engine in a road car nearly broke the engineering team across 3 continents, dealing with vibration harmonics that don't exist on track cars because they never run at steady state. The project was announced in 2017, promising 2019 delivery. Customers didn't get their keys until years later because each car had to be essentially individually engineered to survive in real-world conditions, without a team of engineers monitoring everything. Production is now finished, capped at roughly 275 units worldwide, with an original price north of $2.7 million. And used examples, on the rare occasion one changes hands, go for considerably more. One sold recently at auction for nearly $4 million. The interior is barely an interior, a deafening race car cabin with a driving position most testers call genuinely uncomfortable, seats that don't fully support you at 200 miles per hour cornering speeds, and zero compromise for anyone without real track experience. The engine oil capacity is smaller than a regular car's fuel tank. The transmission oil is different. The cooling system has active radiator flaps that adjust by the millisecond, and the fuel tank integrates into the floor for weight distribution. This is the closest thing to strapping an actual Grand Prix car to a license plate that has ever been sold to the public. Number 3. Number 2. And now we're deep into territory almost nobody covers, because IUF doesn't advertise. IUF doesn't need to. The RUF CTR3 Evo is the final, most powerful version of a bloodline that started in the 1980s with the original CTR, nicknamed the Yellow Bird. A car that briefly held the title of world's fastest production car and terrified an entire generation of journalists who drove it, with stories still circulating of professional drivers refusing a second test drive because the first one was too intense. Critically, RUF is not a tuner in the traditional sense. Since 1981, the German government has officially classified RUF Automobile as an independent manufacturer, equivalent in legal standing to Porsche or Mercedes, meaning every CTR3 gets its own VIN, its own separate homologation, and its own custom tubular steel chassis with an integrated roll cage welded by hand. It just happens to share styling DNA with the 911 because RUF's founder cut his teeth on Porsches, and the silhouette is too iconic to reinvent. The CTR3 Evo runs a IUF-designed, water-cooled, twin-turbo 3.8-liter flat-six mounted midship instead of in the rear, a layout borrowed from motorsport, not Porsche, pumping out 800 horsepower and 730 pound-foot of torque, sent through a custom 7-speed PDK to the rear wheels alone through a bespoke differential that IUF tuned over months of testing. 0 to 62 in 3.2 seconds. Top speed, 236 miles per hour. Unchanged from the standard CTR3 Club Sport it's based on, and independently regarded in the industry as one of the most credible claimed top speeds on this entire list, because IUF has a 4-decade-long reputation for never exaggerating a number. When IUF claims something, European journalists check it, and when the number holds, careers are built on that reputation. Limited to just 20 units worldwide as a final send-off for the CTR3 nameplate, wrapped in a carbon fiber wide body, custom fitted by hand, weighing under 1,400 kilograms dry, lighter than a modern Honda Civic by hundreds of pounds. This is a car most of your friends have never heard of, built by a company most people can't name, that is faster than almost every hypercar with a household name badge on the hood, and costs less than half as much as a Mercedes-AMG ONE. Number 1. The real investigation. Which German cars can you actually trust? Here's what 2 weeks of research actually proved. Germany doesn't dominate top speed conversations because German cars are the fastest on earth. They dominate because German manufacturers are willing to put cameras on the claim. The Porsche Taycan held the Nürburgring record, filmed, GPS verified, on a public circuit anyone can visit. The Mercedes-AMG One let journalists test it repeatedly. IUF has verified claims the same way for 40 years. TechArt tested the GTstreet at Sachsenring with independent witnesses and walked away with a top 4 fastest time out of 750 cars ever tested there. That's the German difference. They don't just build fast cars. They build cars fast enough that they are worth verifying, and then they invite you to check. That's your number 1, the standard of proof that every other country is still trying to catch up to. So here's my question for you. Out of these 10, which manufacturer would you trust most with your own speed claim, and which one would make you want to verify independently first? Put your answer in the comments. And if you know about a top speed test I missed, or claim that's shifted since I researched this, drop that below too. That's how we keep this list honest. Subscribe if you want to see the next investigation. Next week we're taking this same verification process to another country. Germany didn't get this reputation by accident. Thanks for watching.